Good evening. My name is John Presco. This is Monday night, September 28th, 2014. Yesterday morning when I awoke, I had a vision that I'm going to recreate, and it involves a scarf that I purchased at Goodwill. I put it on a pole, made a flag of it, and made my way to the Federal Building in downtown Eugene, where I waved it as I rang a little brass bell. I haven't unfurled this flag yet since that day. It was in my drawer, and I took it out and I put it into my copy machine and made a copy of it and posted it on my blog under the Spirits Soar Over Rose Mountain. And I was tempted to unfurl it yesterday. I said no. Who instructs you to do anything, or does anything outside our own rationale instruct us to do anything that we don't want to do? So tonight I'm watching CBS, and they do a segment on Kurdish women fighters, and they're in their teens, and they're loading AK-47s. They're going back into the battlefield against ISIS. The commander had the scarf around his head. I'm going to try putting on after I've done what I'm going to do here. I was amazed. He asked for a sign, or someone tells you to wait for a sign, and there it is. This commander is telling this woman on CBS News has risked her life to go there on the front line. ISIS is about ready to take over this town. And coming to her rescue is this commander, Hussein, wearing the scarf around his head. And behind him come these three women fighters. And they lay down these white scarves, and they begin to reload their guns, making sure the dirt doesn't get into them. There he is talking with this flag around his head. This crown of thorns. He had roses around his head. Whew, get chills. And he says, and the women agree, that these young women are fighting for women everywhere, all over the world. Consider the rose of the world. What I've been waiting for is a sign so chivalry and knighthood can be reborn. And it won't be Crusader born. It won't be European born. It was born with these three women and this commander with this scarf. He's borning chivalry that Dennis de Rougemont, the co-founder of the European Union and the United Nations, traced to the Sufi Magi, the Zoroastrians, in Persia. This is where the so-called Crusaders and other knights picked it up. They were poet knights, and they honored women. And what these women are fighting for is the right to be educated, the right to choose their own husbands, the right to live their lives as they deem proper. So what I've been saying, I'm going to try to make it real simple. When Moses came out of the wilderness, he tried to judge 650,000 people. And they had to hold up his arms because he was, his arms got tired. He's judging all these people as they come one by one. Well, why is his arms getting tired? Why doesn't he just put them down? Okay, earlier, when Moses is at war, he's up on a hill giving signs to the Israeli warriors. I'm sure there were women amongst them. He's signing to them, commanding them with sign language. And the elders tell Moses, you go get some rest now after 3 days. And on the third day he rose, came out to see how the elders were judging, and they were all taking bribes, giving favors to the relatives, not being fair. They were not being just. There was no justice amongst the multitude in the wilderness. So he draws a line in the sand and says, whoever think they could judge the children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel and God, better than these elders, step forward. And to his amazement, as many women stepped forward as there were men. And a lot of scholars believe that this was the birth of a democratic theocracy. And this is what people are fighting about. This is what we're fighting about. Some people want a theocracy, some people want a democracy. Very few people understand how to have both. Either they're using a secular democratic approach to, to overcome the theocratic part, or vice versa. Now, a lot of people claim that Jesus founded America, but he failed to give women the right to vote through the founding fathers. He did whisper in their ear and say, hey, give women the right to vote. Make them equal with you, 50-50. Of course, he did not free the slaves as God bid Moses to free the slaves, which is the multitude that's being judged. So what these three women understood as they loaded these AK-47s to go out and fight, shoot at ISIS, is that freedom has the totality of the whole message of God. It's come into the world, slowly but surely, and it's really, really at our doorstep. And the world can't ignore it. That freedom comes from God. It's delivered from God. He was an abolitionist God, and he was hated and just all but destroyed by the Roman army. So chivalry is born this day in the image that these three women fighters made. And I'm going to unfurl this flag. I dedicate it to Neda. She died in the streets. Her eyes open, looking at the last of the world. Her last glimpse. She was telling us something. And this is it. God protect the woman of the world from evil and deliver us from evil this day. Amen. I'm going to try to put this scarf on. freedom.